This is Amar Rashid online math class. This is problem 3 of change of subject of formula. Here we want to make x the subject. There are 3 problems on the board that constitute problem 3. We have A, we have B. So we want to make x the subject in each case. This one, as you can see now, A is at this point the subject. For this one, N is the subject. But we want to rearrange this one until this x becomes the subject. Alright, so what do? We are given A as P multiplied by 1 minus x over 100 to the power of 2. Now ask yourself, what exactly we want to make the subject? We want to make x the subject, but x we want to make the subject is in a bracket. One, the bracket that we can find that x we are making the subject is affected by a power. Secondly, it's also affected by what? A factor, a value here, p. So before ever we consider the power to destroy the power, we first of all need to destroy p. So we need to make sure that p disappears here. But we are lucky that we have one term equals to one term. One term equals to one term. So we can simply divide both sides by p. So this p takes away this p. So on the left hand side we have a divided by p. On the right hand side we have 1 minus x over 100. Everything is raised to the power of 2. Alright, so we go again. We want to make x the subject, but x is in a bracket and that bracket is affected by the power of 2. So what do? Okay, let us say we have a bracket here. We want to remove this. Remember, if you have x squared which is equal to a and you want to find the value of x, normally what do? We simply ignore the square, and once we ignore the square, we take the square root of the other side, that is a. Alright, so here again, if we are looking out for x, we are making x the subject, but it is in a bracket which is what? Affected by power 2. We ignore this square. So once we ignore the square, we are left with 1 minus x over 100. But the other side must be in a root. A divided by p. Just like what we've seen here. You ignore the f and the square, it remains x. But the other side must take what? Square root. So here again, we ignore the square. It remains like this one without any bracket. But the other side must take what? A square root. Okay. We keep going. So what is next? We collect the terms containing only x. This term does not contain x. This term does not contain x. But this term contains x. So what do? We take this term to start standing alone. But if we leave this term on the right hand side, it will be what? With a negative sign. So let us move it to the left hand side. So when this one moves to the left hand side, the sign changes. So it becomes x over 100. So what is next? So once this one goes to the left hand side, this is already on the right hand side with 1. We move this one to the right hand side, minus the root of a over p. Okay, we are not finding x over 100. We are making only x the subject. So we don't even need this 100. So what do? We multiply both sides by 100. Let's see, x over 100, 1 minus the root of a over p. So the only way we can remove this 100 is when we multiply both sides by 100. So we multiply here by 100. So the whole of this side again is multiplied by 100. So 100 takes away 100. That will remain only x. So mathematically, if we say 4 times 5 and the answer is 20, even if you say 5 times 4, the answer would still become 20. So the bracket multiplied by 100 is the same as 100 multiplied by the bracket. So A divided by B. So you can see that x is standing alone on its side. So therefore, x is now the subject of this formula. So we go to our B part of the question. All right. So we are given n to be a plus x minus 1 multiplied by d. And we want to make this x the subject. This one is unlike the previous, where we have one term equals to one term. Here, the left-hand side is one term. The right-hand side, there are two terms. We have this term, we have this term. So the first thing we do is to start collecting only the terms containing x, because it's only x we want to make the subject. So if this term contains x and we move it to the left-hand side, the sign of this term plus will become minus. And starting with a minus is something normally we try to avoid in mathematics. So we leave that term there. So only that this a must leave that side and come to the left-hand side. Here is already n. So if we move this one to the left-hand side, this sign plus becomes minus a. So on the right-hand side, we have x minus 1 multiplied by d. We go again. On the right-hand side now is one term, and that is the only term that contains x. And this x is what we are trying to make the subject. We are now happy that the left-hand side, there is no x. So what we should do now is to discourage this d from being attached to the bracket, because we are looking out for something that is in a bracket, and that bracket is affected by a value outside. So we divide both sides by d. So this d takes away this d. So here is x minus 1, which is equal to n minus a divided by d. Don't mind if we write this side before this side. Mathematically, if I say what? You and I, we are the same. It is the same as myself and you, we are the same. So mathematically, if we say x is equal to b, is the same as b is equal to x. If we say x is equal to b, it's the same as b is equal to x. So n minus a over d equal to x minus 1 is the same as x minus 1 is equal to n minus a over d. So don't forget, we are making x the subject. Making a letter a variable is subject means you must rearrange the formula until that letter stands alone on one side. So we allow x to stand here. Everything other than x must go to the other side. So after equal to sign, we have n minus a over d. So we move this minus 1 to the right hand side. Automatically it becomes plus 1. So what have you seen now? You can see that x is standing alone on the left hand side. So we've made x the subject. So this is what we call change of subject of formula. Originally n is the subject, but we rearrange until x becomes the new subject. So we say what? Change of subject of formula. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and share for more.